When he passed, I didn't get the call right away. I was at a movie, stuffing my face with popcorn. I never got to say goodbye. I didn't even try. What was the movie? I asked. I knew it was a stupid question, but that's how I'd always been. Attaching the little things to the stuff that hurt me. The jar of licorice with my high school principal's office. The smell of Old Spice aftershave in my father's belt. This week, I'm reviewing How High We Can Go in the Dark by Sequoia Nagamatsu. It's a science fiction story centered around the human reactions to a global outbreak. Don't let the parallels to the real world turn you off to this. This story really snuck up on me with its heart. It's a little absurd, it's often bleak, but it contains a seed of hope that might warm you. This is a story I will return to. I wasn't sold in the first chapter or two, but I want to get into that further. I'll avoid spoilers about which character did what, but I will be talking about some of the details that build up together to lead to the story's theme. Let's get into it. We open on a father traveling to a research team in Siberia. His daughter was part of the team and died in an accident. Their research unearths a Neanderthal girl. The thawing ice also releases ancient microbes, which unleashes a plague and tears the world apart. Yes, this book is an allegory for climate change and COVID. Moving on to some of my initial reaction, the first chapter was too dry. The father's voice is too academic. As he stood in front of where his daughter died, he immediately comments about the carvings on the cave wall. This distant numbness is similar to the introduction of The Stranger.
Maman died today. Or yesterday, maybe, I don't know.
But I don't think in this case it landed well for me. This numbness overall wasn't handled well. This first chapter hits us over and over with tell, not show, as he introduces himself to the research team. On the heels of his daughter's death, the team begins a quarantine. For both events, they don't seem to take it too seriously. I kept thinking, come on, damn it, do something, feel something. And thinking about a reality, that numbness towards an impending outbreak, okay, that's pretty accurate. It is pretty weird, but it's also weird to see that kind of inertia in a story. I would have expected characters to react to the dire circumstances with the seriousness it would require. I would expect a lot of things. Okay, deviation over. Another critique I have that's kind of a weird one is I had a tough time hearing the rhythm of Sequoia's prose during the first half of the book. Some of the sentences just felt like they had a word or two too many. I kept tripping up on my inner cadence. An example of that. So when he wanted to leave for the weekend to attend a friend's wedding, we paid for his ticket, told him to go have fun. 2 stab wounds. No witnesses outside his hotel. Doesn't this sound better? 2 stab wounds. No witnesses. It's just a little punch-up, 5 words versus 8, but sometimes you need to be concise.
Pop up. You're doing too much. Do less. Pop down.
Each chapter shifts us to new characters as the world reacts to this outbreak, and the timescale zooms way out. I jotted in my notes alongside reading. The first half of the book is overly explanatory with detail, yet underwhelming in emotion. The main ideas I'll walk away with are the technical ones. The back half of the story changes my tune here. I still want to give some credit to Sequoia's imagination. He presents strong images that will stick with me. There's a weird juxtaposition in overly detailing something ludicrous and making it sound plausible, such as genetically modifying a pig to have telepathy, or manufacturing robo-dogs to serve as replacements for loved ones, or a euthanasia park where sick children can spend one last day in happiness before boarding a roller coaster with high G-forces that coax out their last breath, or an interstellar-esque fourth-dimensional space that comes as a symptom to the virus. The afflicted are able to travel through an astral plane to revisit previous moments across humanity. If only they could build a human pyramid tall enough to climb out, maybe they could escape this plane and cure their illness. To me, there was also no distinguishing of the voices between the archaeologist and the doctor and the geneticist and the comedian and the hotel clerk, really any character, they all lacked the physicality or a personality, and so their presences all felt pretty flat. As I read, I felt like I was constantly scowling, feeling irritation as these small editing choices piled up. However, while the story I've described so far sounds wild and unfocused, I suddenly got it, as the larger story was chipped away enough that I could see what lay underneath it. This story is not about the individual characters on the page.
What the fuck?
They only are serving as a reflection on the ways in which we process grief. Some dive into work to avoid it. Some curl up with their loved ones in quiet comfort. Some wallow in memories, reaching out but unable to grasp some larger cosmic lesson. Some look to their brightest memories and unfurl themselves, soaking in the light and letting that heat consume everything. I was reminded of the faces of many small towns. The main streets empty, building fronts shuttered with their lights off, except for a superstore that replaced all local business, and a funeral home. Death is always in demand. In How High We Can Go in the Dark, funerals morph to this overwhelming cultural force. City skyscrapers become tombstones, monuments to the departed families as funerals become the currency of the new world. Beyond rites of burial or cremation, loved ones also remain as plasticized or virtualized versions of themselves, forever available but forever out of reach. These expressions of love mutate into dollar amounts. That permanent impermanence is the struggle, the horror that death presents. It is impossible to sum up a person's life. Anecdotes of their unyielding innocence or quiet faith, the little details, cannot conclude who or what a person was to those around them. One character thinks about their legacy. Would I be immortalized as an old woman, a little girl, a mother? When I think back to this book, I will think back to the chapter, The Used to Be Party. This chapter is a beautiful, human note as a man reaches out to those around him to reconnect after the world has crumbled and is now rebuilding. It is so pure and right for this moment. I wish the book ended there, in a fragile, delicate voice, peeking out from the shadows after the storm has passed. A book that came to mind was Seven Eves by Neil Stephenson. Seven Eves is a sprawling tale that hops across characters and spans across thousands of years just like this one. It plots over humanity's growth and change as we take to the stars. Like How High We Can Go, the story begins with a single event that balloons into the loftier vision of the fallout. I wouldn't say Neil is known for his character depth emotionally, so that's definitely a big difference here. But again, Sequoia is bringing really an imaginative science fiction mind that is extrapolating beyond some simple story of pandemics are a bummer. I would rate How High We Go in the Dark a 4 out of 5 stars. 5 out of 5 stars for imagination and compassion, but I have to dock some points for the lack of strong characters and the need for just tighter editing. This story has made me reflect on the ways we grieve, but the note that stands out at the end is one of hope. Grief does not always mean isolation. Humanity could rally together from a shared pain and use it as a catalyst to make a better world. As Hemingway would say, isn't it pretty to think so?